Can I tell you something that might change the way you look at your healing? Sometimes feeling worse, it doesn't mean you're getting worse. Sometimes the reason something feels uncomfortable is because you're finally allowing yourself to feel something you spent years avoiding. Think about that. You spent years staying busy, distracting yourself, overthinking, controlling things, pushing emotions down, keeping everyone else happy. And maybe you even convinced yourself, I'm fine. And then you finally slow down. You finally start paying attention to yourself. And suddenly, everything you've been holding together starts getting louder. The anxiety, the sadness, the anger, the questions. And you think, wait, I thought I was supposed to be healing. But what if this is actually part of it? I think this is where a lot of people just quit. They finally decide they're going to change. They start exercising. They start praying again. They start getting quiet and still. They start setting boundaries. They start paying attention to what they're thinking. And instead of immediately feeling better, they feel more aware of what's actually going on inside of them. And that's uncomfortable. I've had moments where I've thought, why am I thinking about this right now? Why is this bothering me? Why can't I just move on? And maybe you've experienced that too. You thought that healing meant getting rid of uncomfortable feelings. But maybe healing isn't about never feeling them again. Maybe it's about finally being able to experience them without letting them control you. And that's a very different thing. Here's what I want you to understand. Your nervous system has been collecting information about your life for a long time. It learns what's safe, what's dangerous, what's familiar, what's unpredictable. And it develops responses around that information. So if you spent years avoiding conflict, you may feel incredibly uncomfortable when you finally start speaking honestly. If you spent years putting everyone else first, setting a boundary might feel selfish. If you spent years suppressing emotion, actually allowing yourself to feel something might feel overwhelming. Not necessarily because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something different. And your nervous system notices different. Here's something I want you to really think about. What if discomfort isn't always a warning to stop? We've been conditioned to think if this feels uncomfortable, something must be wrong. But that's not always true. Exercise is uncomfortable. Learning is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Having an honest conversation can be uncomfortable. And sometimes healing is uncomfortable. The question isn't simply, does this feel uncomfortable? The better question is, what kind of discomfort is this? Is this telling me I'm in danger? Or is this telling me I'm doing something unfamiliar? And those are not the same thing. And learning the difference can change everything. This is one reason people return to old patterns. Not because the old patterns were healthy, because they were familiar. You know how to be the person who never says no. You know how to be the person to overthink. You know how to stay busy. You know how to keep people at a distance. You know how to react. You know how to shut down. But now you're trying to become someone who responds differently. And your body doesn't have years of evidence for that yet. So you may experience resistance. You may doubt yourself. You may even temporarily feel like you're losing yourself. But maybe you're not losing yourself. Maybe you're losing the version of yourself you built to survive. And those are two very different things. This is where I think ancient wisdom becomes very interesting. Scripture talks about transformation through the renewing of your mind. That's not an overnight event. Renewing implies a process, a continual movement away from old ways of thinking and toward something new. And there's something remarkably consistent about that idea when you put it beside what we now understand about the brain. Your brain is capable of change. Your nervous system is capable of learning. Your responses can become different. But repetition matters. You don't create a new pathway by thinking about it just once. You create it by practicing something different over and over again. And eventually, what once felt unfamiliar starts becoming familiar. Here's the path. Don't measure your healing only by how good you feel. Start measuring it by how differently you respond. Maybe 6 months ago, something would have sent you into a spiral. Today, you notice it sooner. That's progress. Maybe you used to react immediately, and now you pause. That's progress. Maybe you used to abandon yourself to keep someone else happy. Now you tell the truth. That's progress. Maybe you still feel fear but you don't let your fear make the decision. That's progress. Healing isn't becoming a person who never gets triggered. It's becoming a person who has more freedom in what happens next. And that freedom is built through practice, movement, silence, breathing, reflection, healthy relationships, discomfort, consistency. Not because these things magically fix your life, but because you're repeatedly giving your mind and body new experiences. You're teaching yourself, I can feel this and still be okay. I can be uncomfortable and still choose. I don't have to go back. So if you're in a season right now where growth feels harder than expected, don't automatically assume you've gone backwards. Maybe you're finally seeing what you've been unable to see. Maybe you're finally feeling what you spent years avoiding. Maybe you're learning that peace isn't the absence of discomfort. Maybe peace is knowing you don't have to run from yourself anymore. And remember what we talked about in the last video? You don't have to become someone completely different. You're learning right now to let go of what no longer belongs. So the person you were created to be has room to emerge. If this gave you a different way to look at your own journey, like the video, subscribe, and come back for the next one. And if you want something practical to start with, I put the Full Armor Nervous System Reset Guide. It's free. I put it below. And if you're ready to go even deeper, the Full Armor 21-Day Method takes these ideas and turns them into daily practices. Until the next time, keep healing, keep growing, and keep becoming who you were created to be.